behind 7'2" center Roy Hibbert and 6'9" junior forward Jeff Green. The Georgetown Hoyas rolled all the way to the NCAA Sweet 16 a year ago. They hope to extend that even farther this season. But tonight, their task at hand is to try to slow down the Commodores and their two sharpshooters, Derek Byers and Shane Foster. It will be the Commodores and the Hoyas, and it's all coming your way right now. Looking inside historic Memorial Gymnasium on the campus of Vanderbilt University, where the Commodores get set to open up their 2006-2007 season against a very difficult test in the 8th-ranked Georgetown Hoyas right here on FSN. And hello, everybody. I'm Dave Neal alongside my partner, Barry Booker, and welcome to Nashville, Tennessee for a great contest, Big East SEC matchup. And, Barry, let's start with this Georgetown team, because here's a club that I think surprised just about everybody in major college basketball, going to the Sweet 16 before falling to Florida, the national champs. And this Vanderbilt team, they always seem to be right on the cusp of an NCAA tournament. Could this be their breakout year? Give us your assessment.
Well, Dave, first for Georgetown, they have all the talent in the world inside in Roy Hibbert and Jeff Green. Great strength around the basket, but I'm not sure their perimeter guys are strong enough, especially at this stage of the season, to carry them. And Vanderbilt, playing a more up-tempo style this season, will try to put the pressure on Georgetown and turn them over. Vanderbilt is a talented team, but I think their inside game as the season goes along will limit them this year.
Well, this game will certainly test the Commodores early. The 8th-ranked team in America right here in Nashville. When we come back, we'll look at our starting lineups. Roy Hibbert is a monster inside. Shane Foster for the Commodores. He knows how to get it in the hole. We are back inside Memorial Gymnasium here in Nashville as we get set for the Commodores and the Hoyas. Two guys that certainly will have an impact in tonight's game. First of all, for Georgetown, Barry, Roy Hibbert, 7'2" and only getting better.
The big man inside. He's lost about 15 pounds since last season. Much better condition. He got in foul trouble last year against the Commodores and was limited. But we'll get a big dose of the big man tonight here in Memorial Gymnasium. And Shane Foster, the jump shooter, the three-point shooter, the scorer. Third leading returning scorer in the Southeastern Conference this year. First team preseason All-SEC from the coaches. Foster will have to have a big night tonight, as he did last year at Georgetown, scoring 20 points and 5 threes in that game.
Well, let's take a look at our starting lineups, which are brought to you by Volkswagen. And one interesting note in that Georgetown lineup, Tyler Crawford was slated to start at one of the guard positions. He is out tonight with the flu, so that means Jesse Sapp will get the start at guard for Georgetown. And Jermaine Beal, the true freshman, will get the start at the point for the Vanderbilt Commodores. When we come back, it'll be the Hoyas and the Commodores. Glad you're with us on FSN. SEC versus Big East. This presentation of SEC College Hoops on FSN is brought to you by Dodge, Chevrolet, and by Southeast Toyota. Dave Neal and Barry Booker back inside Memorial Gymnasium, where the Commodores have won 82 of their last 86 non-conference games inside this building. They have played one game, an exhibition contest against Northern State, and won that by 4 points. As you look at John Thompson III, now in his third season as the Hoyas head coach after grooming as a head coach at his alma mater of Princeton. He'll be taking on Kevin Stallings in his 8th season here in Nashville. 122 and 96 to 46. You turned 46 back in October. So a young 46.
Absolutely.
You'll enjoy that I said that. These two teams met last year up in Washington, D.C., and Vanderbilt went on the road and got the win. 68-61 in that contest. These two clubs also met back in the NCAA tournament in the early 90s. Georgetown captured that game, so series tied in 1 game apiece.
A low-scoring game last year with both teams running that Princeton-style offense. Vanderbilt has changed things. They have gone to an up-tempo, pressure-style game, and we'll see if they can wear down the Hoyas tonight in their building.
Here's Hibbert, guarded by Metcalf. That'll be an interesting matchup. Hibbert 7'2", Metcalf checks in at 6'9", but 260 pounds.
A lot of beef in that matchup, 270 against 265.
Misses the jumper. There's Hibbert with the first offensive rebound of the game. And a foul underneath, and that will go against Allen Metcalf.
Roy Hibbert and the Hoyas do a great job hitting the backboards. Hibbert that time getting inside, getting position after Green missed the jumper, able to get to the foul line.
Hibbert at the line last year. Pretty good numbers for a big man, 72%, although well short on that first one. He led the team in blocks, rebounds, was second in scoring last year.
Didn't get up on his toes on that first free throw attempt. Was much better follow through that second time around. He got it down.
Here's Byers, lost the handle off the leg of Allen Metcalf. It'll go back to Georgetown.
The Commodores hoping to force a lot of turnovers against Georgetown tonight. They can't afford to give it away themselves.
Hibbert underneath to Green, a broken play. Off the window, no good. Rebound Metcalf.
That open middle for Georgetown, able to get Green to the basket.
You saw the freshman point guard, Jermaine Beal, out of DeSoto, Texas, nearly throw it away on his first push up the floor.
Jermaine Beal, an outstanding athlete, does a great job pushing the ball up the court and gets the start over the veteran Alex Gordon, a junior who has a lot of experience, but Jermaine Beal, so talented, able to get the start at the point for Coach Stallings.
And then Neltner throws it away. That is already the third turnover for the Commodores, and we have played 1 minute and 6 seconds.
So gave Green the steal there just a moment ago and called him out of bounds, I guess. So Vanderbilt, 3 possessions, 3 turnovers, no shots yet.
Here's Wallace, the junior out of Harvest, Alabama.
Vanderbilt fans, of course, familiar with this style of offense, spreading the court. This Princeton-style offense that Georgetown runs.
Wallace off the iron, Neltner with a rebound. Here comes Shane Foster, and that'll be traveling violation against the Commodores, and they haven't got a shot off yet.
Vanderbilt really trying to push the tempo when they get possession. The first thing you have to do is take care of the basketball. Now 4 turnovers on the Commodores. Vanderbilt pressure. They have not sped Georgetown up at all to this point. The Hoyas just running their offense and milking that shot clock down every possession.
And that is a hold on Allen Metcalf. That'll be number 2 for the 6'9" junior out of England. Making a second career start tonight.
Metcalf's problem quite a bit last year. He's pushing, they're shoving back and forth. It looks like Metcalf got caught with his arm underneath and hooking against Roy Hibbert inside.
Wallace will try again. This time he's good from the corner. That's a 3.
Big bucket from Jonathan Wallace. Hit 3 of his 6 3-point attempts in that Hartford game, Georgetown's opener.
Scooches checks in now for Metcalf. There's a foul against Georgetown underneath. That'll go against Jeff Green. That'll be his first. Our referees today, by the way, Mike Stewart, Jim Burr, and Ed Corbett. We know this, Mike Stewart's whistle's working tonight.
Everybody's getting a chance tonight with the turnovers that Vanderbilt's had so far. A couple of fouls.
Byers off to Foster. Here's Scooches. He'll swing it around the perimeter. Byers got hacked. Egerson will pick up that foul.
The tempo of this game is going to be important all night long. An advantage to Vanderbilt when the tempo is quicker, should be, and for Georgetown when they can slow it down and run their methodical offense. And so far tonight, it has been Georgetown's tempo. The crowd has been quiet. No points to cheer for so far from the Commodores.
It would help if you got a shot off.
Yeah.
0 shots in the first 2.5 minutes of this game for the Commodores. Myers does get the Doors on the board. Myers last year averaged 12.5 points, started every game. Excellent three-point shooter, finished second in the conference last year in that department at 44% from behind the arc.
Eric Myers, just an excellent player, big body, but also with great touch out away from the basket. Spreading things out, opening up the middle so they can get their backdoor cuts.
Here's Hibbert off to Green, might have got away with a travel, and that rebound to Byers.
Vanderbilt can handle Jeff Green when he's that far away from the basket.
Hibbert with a reach-in foul, that will be his first. He got into foul trouble to Hibbert last year against Commodores, only had 6 points, played 13 minutes.
And again here, a cheap foul there. Roy Hibbert reaching in. Got to talk to him a little bit this afternoon at shoot-around. He said he's not thinking about revenge, but really wanting to come in here and play well tonight.
Foster shot, partially blocked. Hoyas on the move.
Hands off! Get your hands off!
Tempo definitely in Georgetown's favor, but they're not getting all that many shots around the basket, not getting Hibbert and Green down low where they can do a lot of damage.
That's a foul that'll make Kevin Stallings a little upset when you foul the 7'2" player 23 feet away from the basket.
Yeah, when he's dribbling, you're in good shape. No need to attack him while he's dribbling and foul him like that. Hibbert's doing the job drawing fouls. He has put 3 fouls on the Vanderbilt centers trying to guard him.
Here's Hibbert. Off to Wallace. Green. There's Sapp now. Shot clock at 13. That's a double dribble. Should have been a double dribble. Got away with it. Hibbert off the glass. And that was a freebie 2 for the Hoyas.
Jeff Green does a great job setting up his teammates. He led the Hoyas in assists. He's such a great scorer himself, but he's able to draw defenders and set up his teammates.
That's a hold against Jonathan Wallace on Derek Byers. There's a timeout on the floor. The Hoyas lead it by 4.
In Memorial Gym, Georgetown leading 6-2. And a few moments ago, Georgetown got a kind of a cheap basket. Here's Jeff Green trying to catch the ball on the wing, but he bobbles it. And he can go and pick it up and dribble that ball again. The officials ruled that he didn't catch the ball and dribble it. He just bobbled it. And since it's a bobble, he can go get it again and take off dribbling. Green gets away with it. You saw Kevin Stallings there in the background making that call, calling for the double dribble.
In real time, it looked like he put it on the floor, but as we slowed it down, it was apparent that he did not have complete possession of the basketball. Vandy's second shot of the game is good. Ted Scooches.
Well done by Ted Scooches, attacking the big man, going at him. Roy Hibbert already has 1 foul. He doesn't want to pick up a second one, so Scooches really went after him, able to get the basket.
Sapp to the basket. Hibbert with the follow. 5 for Roy.
Nice drive by Sapp to set that up.
Byers 3 on the way. No good. Rebound Hibbert. 3 rebounds for Hibbert already.
Hibbert and the Hoyas really controlling the backboards.
Green out of the corner is good.
Wide open that time. Ross Neltner can't leave him that way. On the strong side of the court with the ball on that side, that's just too easy for Hibbert to pitch it back out to Green for the basket.
It is hard for Vanderbilt to get off a shot. Alex Gordon checks in. He wears number 3. Dan Cage also checking in. He's with the basketball. Inside, little fall away. No good. Green the rebound.
That's not really Dan Cage's game. He is 84 of his made field goals are three-pointers. 84 of his 118 made field goals are threes. But Cage not real comfortable getting in there around the basket.
Second turnover by the Hoyas.
It's a drive by Sapp, drawing the defenders over. Scoochis went for the shot block. An easy finish by Roy Hibbert.
DeJuan Summers checks in. Jesse Sapp will take a seat on the floor now for the Commodores. One of their freshmen, Jawan Brown, the 6'7" freshman out of Biloxi, Mississippi, checks in. As does George Drake, the redshirt freshman.
All backups now on the court for the Commodores.
Cage misfires.
The starting group didn't get Vanderbilt off to a very good start. The tempo of this game, all in Georgetown's favor. A new batch of Commodores in to try to crank the tempo.
Here's Green, nice ball fake to the basket. Layup is good.
Jeff Green led the Hoyas in scoring last year. Co-Big East Rookie of the Year 2 years ago as a freshman. This junior forward for Georgetown, a dynamic scorer.
It's a 7-0 run by the Hoyas. Here's Brown in the paint. Off to George Drake. Back to Cage. He'll launch a long 3. No good. Loose ball taken by Wallace on the baseline.
Jawan Brown really had an easy opportunity there. He just didn't gather the basketball. Tried to slap it back in. Couldn't get it done.
Foul on Alex Gordon. Talk about some quickness on the floor between him and Wallace. Those are a couple of lightning quick guards. Hibbert double team, gets it back to Green. Nice pass to Hibbert for the jam. How about that two-man game?
Jeff Green, just a great playmaker, able to draw 2 defenders to himself. Caught Roy Hibbert moving to the basket. Great hands by Hibbert to catch it and drop it in.
On the other end, Green picks up the foul.
Look at the ball handling ability there by Green. Hibbert set the little screen. They forced the switch. Hibbert able to sweep to the basket for the easy 2.
That's Green's second foul, so he will take a seat, and that'll bring in Patrick Ewing, the son of the legendary Patrick Ewing.
And former Indiana Hoosier, transferred over, sat out last year. Patrick Ewing eligible once again.
Long 3 by Gordon, off the back of the iron. Cage the rebound. Gordon will try again. He's got it. That's a 3.
Dan Cage tracking down the rebound, pitching it back to Gordon. Gordon, a very good shooter, able to knock home the 3.
Georgetown's hit 5 of the last 6 field goal attempts. Make it 6 out of 7.
The Hoyas are getting great shots. They're getting the ball into the lane. Hibbert dunks, and other players getting into the lane for some easy shots.
There's the freshman Brown. His first career field goal is a good one.
DeJuan Brown, very aggressive around the basket, showing no fear against the great shot blocker Roy Hibbert. Brown gets 2.
And Hibbert with another dunk.
Well, the penetration from Georgetown just destroying the Vanderbilt defense.
And an offensive foul on Allen Metcalf trying to post up Roy Hibbert. That'll be the 3rd on Metcalf. The Hoyas off to an electrifying start on the road here in Nashville. Back after this. But Roy Hibbert has been the story to this point. 9 points, 4 rebounds, and he hasn't missed from the field yet.
And he has been patient, hadn't forced anything. His teammates have done a nice job setting him up for baskets. Sapp there with the drive to get Hibbert open. And there's Jeff Green pitching it off to Hibbert for the slam. Again, the penetration drawing the Vanderbilt defense. And it's been very easy once Roy Hibbert catches the basketball.
Story so far, Georgetown 8 of 13 from the field. Vanderbilt 3 out of 10.
And the Commodores forced to shoot long jump shots. Georgetown scoring around the basket. Well, it's been easy shots for the Hoyas and tough ones for the Commodores.
Shot clock at 4. Sapp has to throw it up off the iron. Rebound comes to Cage.
That was not an easy shot. Good defense, and Sapp just didn't create enough space to get that shot.
Hoyas 12-2 in the paint area. Scooches closes that gap with the easy lay-in.
Scooches with a couple of baskets now inside. Vanderbilt doing a nice job reversing the basketball, getting it into their big guy.
Scooches, a guy that started early last season, and his play kind of faltered down the stretch a little bit. Kevin Stallings decided to get more minutes for Allen Metcalf. And that's paid off. Metcalf got the start here in the season opener for the Commodores, but he has 3 fouls and he's now on the bench.
Scooches played a lot of minutes, just not very productive last year.
And the follow-up up and good by Sapp.
Sapp, a strong player that time, overpowering Cage.
And Ewing will foul Ross Neltner, and that'll send Neltner to the free throw line.
Patrick Ewing Jr. after sitting out for a year and a half. Sitting out last season, hadn't played a game in a year and a half, and here a little over anxious going after Neltner on that 3-point shot. Cardinal sin in basketball, never foul a jump shooter. Ewing just did it.
Didn't we do a Vandy, Indiana game here?
Yes, indeed.
Patrick Ewing, was he a freshman on that team?
He was, and he mentioned that. I spoke to him for a moment this morning. He mentioned being in this building and felt like he had a pretty good game that night, although Indiana got the loss against the Commodores that night.
Hibbert about to check back in for the Hoyas. Georgetown will go big as Jonathan Wallace heads to the bench. So the smallest player on the floor is 6'3" sophomore Jesse Sapp for the Hoyas.
Ross Neltner here shooting foul shots. A key to Vanderbilt's season is how productive Neltner can be. He is a guy in the mold of a Dan Lange or a Matt Frigie who can step away from the basket, shoot the ball really well. But Vanderbilt will need him to play like Lange or Frigie if they're going to have a good year.
Here's Ewing. Now Sapp spins toward the baseline. Back into the paint. Little runner. Left it short. And Ewing with the backwards tip in.
That one might have been headed toward the rim. Ewing able to get away with it and get two.
Neltner with a great ball fake. He lays it up and in. It's an 8-point game. 4 points now for Neltner.
There's some of that versatility from Ross Neltner. He shot a 3-pointer and got fouled to get his first 2 points, and showing his low post game, spinning around Hibbert for the basket there. And we'll see if this was goaltending. The shot going up, it does look like it's probably not going to hit the rim. That definitely did have a chance to go in, and it wasn't above the cylinder, so Ewing gets the 2.
Well, Ewing played 8 minutes in their opener against Hartford. He had no field goal attempts, did have 1 rebound. He averaged 4 points, almost 4 rebounds a game as a sophomore for Indiana, but is back home now and wearing that familiar number 33.
Ewing on the back, playing for Coach Thompson. Got some family connections with this Georgetown program. Of course, Patrick Ewing Jr., the head coach for Georgetown now. John Thompson III, son of John Thompson Jr. And on the bench for Georgetown also, Jeremiah Rivers, the son of Doc Rivers, head coach of the Celtics now.
And just one other interesting tidbit, John Thompson III's father, John Thompson, and my father called NBA games together for Turner Broadcasting. So there.
Connections everywhere. And John Thompson III and Ronnie Thompson, his brother, they're going to face off against each other here in a few weeks.
Here's a takeaway. Wallace back on the floor.
Ronnie Thompson, the head coach at Ball State now, the assistant at Arkansas the last few years.
Sapp misfires, and Hibbert with another rebound. That goes down.
Hibbert in the double figures, a far cry from that 13-minute, 6-point effort that he had at Georgetown against Vanderbilt last year.
And Kevin Stallings just picked up a technical foul from Ed Corbett. He was really working it after that last Hibbert tip-in along the baseline. Ed gave him about 30 seconds, and that was about enough.
Kevin Stallings wanting a push-off against Hibbert. Hibbert there snatched the rebound, able to stick it back home. Hibbert having a big night against these Commodores.
Wallace shot 80% from the line a year ago. Knocks down the first free throw.
Commodores keep the basketball, but Georgetown picks up 2 points and extend a 12-point edge.
Vanderbilt will inbound it with 8:38 to go in the first half. They're down a dozen, which matches the biggest lead of the game for this Georgetown club. It got off to a great start. It took nearly 3 minutes for Vanderbilt's first field goal. Here's Neltner, draws the foul on Ewing with the pump fake. Second foul on Ewing. I'd like to welcome those of you on FSN watching the Hurricanes beat the Rangers in NHL action 2-1. We are in Nashville. Dave Neal along with Barry Booker. Georgetown ranked 8th in the country, taking on the Commodores. Georgetown got off to a great start. They lead by a dozen. It's their biggest lead of the game. Vanderbilt's been playing catch-up since the opening tip. It is the opening game of the year for Vanderbilt. Hoyas 1-0 after knocking off Hartford in their opener on Saturday. Just comes up with the basketball.
Georgetown's great center, Roy Hibbert, dominating this ball game. 11 points already for the Hoyas.
Wallace couldn't save it. It'll be Vandy basketball. Boy, Vandy had the best look of the night. There's Hibbert taking a break, and a well-deserved break it is.
Commodores wanted to play an up-tempo game this year. They haven't gotten that going so far tonight against Georgetown. The Hoyas doing a great job defensively, shutting things down around the basket for the most part.
That foul will go against DeJuan Summers. That'll be his first.
A good drive by Derek Byers, and Summers just riding his back all the way to the basket. Byers gets to the line.
Byers in his final year after transferring in from Virginia. Shot 48% from the field, 44 from behind the arc, 71% at the line. But yet he felt something was missing a year ago. Hopes to have that breakout season. Not named on one of the first or second team All-SEC list in the preseason voting, which was a shock to many. This guy is perhaps one of the best top 2 or 3 all-around players, in my opinion, in this league.
Yeah, great shooter, physical player, big body, very versatile player. But Byers has been pretty quiet, and I tell you who's been really quiet tonight, Shane Foster, with no points so far in this ball game. Hoyas doing a great job defensively against Foster. He hadn't even touched the basketball very much tonight.
Barry, just one shot tonight for Shane Foster, and he missed it.
After lighting up the Hoyas last year in D.C. for 20, Georgetown focused defensively on Foster.
Sapp, a little runner. No good. Batted around, taken out of there by Neltner. Here's Beal, the true freshman. Back to Neltner in the lane. He gets tripped on the way in. John Thompson wants to travel. Mike Stewart says no. tripped him up. That foul will go against Pat Ewing. And we have a timeout on the floor. 27-16 Hoyas. Georgetown shooting 50% from the field. Vanderbilt shooting 35%. Thus you have a 27-16 Hoya lead. Well, time now for our Southeast Toyota trivia question of the night. Who was the leading scorer in Georgetown's 70-60 victory over Vanderbilt in the 1991 NCAA tournament game? Well, we will have the answer for that a little bit later in our telecast. Think about that 91 team. Think about some of the great players that came through that Hoya program in the late 80s, early 90s.
Hoyas noted for their big guys during that stretch. Patrick Ewing, Dikembe Mutombo, Alonzo Mourning, some great big guys through that Hoya program through the mid-80s and mid-late 80s and early 90s.
You can add one more big man to that list in the way Roy Hibbert's going tonight. 11 points, 5 rebounds for the 7'2" junior. Getting a breather on that bench. Checking in for the first time, getting his first action is the parade All-American, Vernon Macklin, the freshman out of Portsmouth, Virginia. He wears #1 for Georgetown.
Georgetown with this comfortable 10-point lead, able to rest some of their big guns, get some of the younger guys into this ball game tonight.
Here's Wallace. And a traveling violation.
Nice job defensively that time by the Commodores to force that turnover. And Vanderbilt just hasn't been able to put enough pressure on Georgetown to force them to play more quickly than they're comfortable. The Hoya is able to keep their spread offense, keep Vanderbilt at bay, and run down the shot clock on just about every possession.
Byers draws the foul. Boy, the ball fake has been effective for Vanderbilt tonight. They've gotten the Hoyas off their feet more than once. That foul on Summers, and that'll be his second.
That technical foul on Coach Stallings might not have been all bad either. Vanderbilt has gotten a lot of fouls since that point. Gotten to the foul line quite a few times. And a guy who's been very quiet tonight, Shane Foster, hasn't seen the basketball very much. Georgetown switching just about every screen, every time players cross, the Hoyas switch, and they're really focused on denying Shane Foster the basketball.
Foster one shot so far in the game. We've got 6:48 to go before halftime. The main guy who's been trying to corral him is Mark Eggerson. The sophomore out of Wilmington, Delaware, has done a pretty good job for the most part on Foster.
The third leading returning scorer in the SEC. Vanderbilt has to get Shane Foster involved. Commodores trailed in the game in D.C. last year, able to put on a spurt to end the first half and continue that into the second half, take control of the ball game last year.
That's what he did a year ago up in Washington, a 20-point night, 5 3-pointers.
Commodores looking to duplicate how things happened last season with Georgetown bursting out to a nice lead.
Double dribble against Vernon Macklin. His first collegiate game has to be in this building.
Couldn't get him in against Hartford at home in front of a supportive crowd here in a hostile environment. Macklin with the turnover, and John Thompson trying to get his big guys back in. Jeff Green with the 2 fouls hasn't been in much lately either.
Hoyas with the turnover. Head back the other direction. Georgetown's led by as many as 12. Right now it's 8. They've been scoreless the last 2.5 minutes, have the Hoyas. Summers pulls up off the iron, no good. Rebound Shane Foster. He'll push the tempo. Up ahead to Cage. Cage has missed his 2 3-point attempts tonight. Byers. Left-handed layup off the glass. 7 for Derek.
Showing that athleticism, the explosiveness. Derek Byers able to put it on the floor and get to the basket for 2. With Jeff Green in foul trouble, Roy Hibbert out of the game for quite a long stretch. Vanderbilt has started to take advantage of it and cut this lead down to 6.
fouled against Dan Cage. That'll be his first. And that'll make it a 1-and-1 situation. 17 fouls against the Commodores. Already 10 team fouls against the Hoyas.
A pretty move by Derek Byers going to the basket. Using his left hand, he was so far underneath the basket that he couldn't get the shot off with his right hand, but knocking it home with his left after a pretty move to lead two defenders out on the wing.
Here's Sapp to the free throw line, converts on the first. Sapp played in all 33 games last year, averaged just shy of 3 points, a couple of rebounds a game. As a freshman out of New York City, now has 4. And here comes Jeremiah Rivers on the floor, the true freshman out of Winter Park, Florida, as Barry said, the son of Doc Rivers, the head coach of the Boston Celtics. He played 11 minutes in the opener, but did not get a shot off in that contest. Here's Gordon, takes it inside, kicks it out to Cage. Dan Cage knocks down the 3.
Dan Cage, a phenomenal three-point shooter, 46% from three-point range last year.
Nearly a takeaway by Byers. And we will reset the shot clock.
Ruling that Vanderbilt had possession of that basketball as the player was flying out of bounds. Georgetown getting that shot clock back.
And it looks like Wallace is hurt.
Rivers, I believe,
saves the basketball in official time. Wallace hit the deck, and you could tell by his reaction he went right for that calf muscle as it locked up on. You can almost see it cringing right now.
Jonathan Wallace trying to get around Alex Gordon, goes to the floor, but it doesn't look like it's a knee or anything that's anything like that. It's just a cramp situation, and Wallace, the starting point guard, remember Georgetown also playing tonight without their starting shooting guard Tyler Crawford, who is out with the flu. The starting backcourt now for Georgetown going to be sitting on the sidelines.
So it'll be Hibbert, Green, Summers, Sapp, and Rivers on the floor. With 4:28 to go before halftime, the Hoyas' last field goal was 4 minutes ago. They're 0 for 2 with 3 turnovers during that stretch. Offensive foul. Juwan Summers, player control. That'll be his 3rd. Fouls beginning to mount on the Hoyas.
And the Vanderbilt pressure really paying dividends, forcing this drive into traffic. The Commodores able to draw that charge. I believe it was Scuccia stepping in to take the hit.
Well, that's 3 fouls on Summers, 3 fouls on Ewing, 2 fouls on Green.
Georgetown not a very deep team. They lost 2 of their top scorers off last year's club, and that team a very balanced attack. They had 6 players averaging between 12 and 8 points on the season last year. Very unselfish team, very balanced. I don't know if the Hoyas can duplicate that kind of effort. I think it's going to need to be more Hibbert and Green this season for Georgetown.
Well, they lost Brandon Bowman and Ashante Cook. Bowman averaged 11 points, 5 boards. Cook 10 points, 2.5 rebounds, 2.5 assists. Byers, long 3, no good. The tip. We'll give it to Scuccius. Scuccius will get credit for the tip in.
Scuccius having a nice night. 6 points now for Ted. Doing a great job inside against him.
And another foul against Cage. That'll be his 2nd. Well, just moments ago, this was a 12-point Hoya lead. But the Commodores at home making a rally. They're only down 3. Back after this. Ranked Georgetown leads by 3. 3:47 to go before half when the Hoyas beat Vanderbilt by 10 in 1991 in the NCAA tournament. If you said Alonzo Mourning, you were correct. Dikembe Mutombo also had 14 in that game. Scott Drought led Vanderbilt with 22.
In Drout's final game as a Commodore. Tough task going against Mourning and Mutombo.
Think about all the money those guys have made in the NBA in their careers.
The great thing about Mutombo, he's done a lot of work in his homeland back in Africa.
Yeah, building hospital, raising funds. That's his mission in life.
Yeah.
So it's back to a 5-point game after the free throws. Here's Gordon.
Commodores have battled their way from 12 down to work it down to 5, now 3.
George Drake finding some room underneath.
Redshirt freshman George Drake, very impressive. He was 7 of 8 and 17 points in the exhibition game for Vanderbilt.
Cross-court pass. Here's Summers. That's a 2, had a foot on the line. That's their first field goal since the 8:48 mark.
6 minutes without a field goal for the Hoyas.
Hibbert with the block shot, then comes up with the basketball and got a little elbow into the chest of Ross Neltner. Hoya basketball.
A good hustle by George Drake, getting his hand on the basketball. Almost able to come up with that steal. Here's the big fella controlling things inside. Roy Hibbert coming over to swat it away. A good job by Summers not committing that foul. Neltner had great position inside, but Hibbert able to come over to the top for the block.
Good, strong move by Roy Hibbert. That's why a lot of folks think this club could make a run at that Final Four because of their interior play.
Hibbert just controlling things inside. 13.6 boards for the big fella.
Drake inside, swatted out of there. I couldn't tell who got it. There were a couple of blue jerseys around. Maybe we'll give it to Ewing.
Hibbert and Patrick Ewing Jr. both got their hands on the basketball, and offensively, Roy Hibbert just catching the ball inside. That was something that he didn't have as a big part of his game last year, just able to get it on the low block and score.
Bounce pass underneath. Hibbert foul. Will step to the free throw line. Why not lob that pass to the 7-2 player?
You got a big guy trying to make that play. DeJuan Summers coming down, 6'8", 240. The freshman not used to throwing alley-oops. He's used to catching them. So making the easy pass, the safe pass, just getting it over to Hibbert, making sure you keep possession.
Neltner's first foul. Hibbert knocks down the free throw.
Roy Hibbert has improved so much. Lost 15 pounds. He's in much better condition than he was last season. An all-American type player. He sure looks like it tonight. 14 points so far.
Career high last year. Game against Rutgers when he dropped 25 on the Scarlet Knights. Here's Neltner, tough shot, no good. Scooch is crashing the boards. Rebound pulled out of there by Sapp.
Ted Scooch has been really active. He has played a good ball game tonight. Backing up Allen Metcalf, who has the 3 fouls, sitting on the bench right now for the Commodores.
That jumper is sweet by Ewing. Had a man in his face, fall away, hit the deck. He's got 5.
A familiar Princeton offense with the odd cuts, leaving the open shooter, and Ewing able to drop the 3.
Pile up underneath. 7 rebounds for Hibbert. Summers back the other way. The left-handed shot no good. Right back to Summers. Blocked by Scooches. It'll be Hoya basketball.
Scoot just grabbing at his foot or his ankle right now. A great job to knock that shot away. Looked like Summers had an easy one.
Look at the foul situation for Georgetown. Ewing and Summers with 3. Eggerson also has 2. Sapp has a couple.
Jeff Green also has sat on the bench a long time for Georgetown with 2 fouls.
That's Derek Byers. Wonder if he has a cramp as well.
Looks like they're working on his calf, so it probably is a cramp. It's a little warm here for a late November night.
Alley-oop swatted out of there by Ewing. Underneath Neltner. Back to Gordon. Wide open 3. Got it!
Great ball movement by Vanderbilt. Neltner with a sweet pass out to Alex Gordon for the open jumper.
Eight-point game. Vandy had it down to 3 just about 2 minutes ago.
Looks like each team, if Vanderbilt can secure a rebound and get a stop, they will get one more possession in this first half.
Shot clock under 10. Summers, or excuse me, Sapp off the mark. That rebound taken by Foster. Looks like he slammed his elbow on the hardwood. That'll be the second foul on Hibbert. Coming up on our Chevrolet halftime report, we will talk some SEC basketball. And the question is, can anybody beat Florida this year? I would think there's probably somebody out there that could, but
they lost 6 in the SEC last year. Same group coming back.
Somebody has a chance. Like I say, somebody has a chance. I don't know if it'll happen. We'll also talk with Shane Foster, and we'll look at these first half highlights, and I'm sure they will include Mr. Roy Hibbert. But Shane Foster will step to the free throw line. How about this? No free throws tonight. Just 1 field goal attempt. That is his first point of the evening.
Vanderbilt very fortunate to have this game as close as it is without their big gun, Shane Foster, their leading scorer, not being much of a factor tonight.
30-second timeout taken by Kevin Stallings and the Vanderbilt Commodores with 16.1 seconds to go. And Shane Foster now on the board. Vandy shooting 40%. Georgetown 46%. Vandy's done a nice job, Barry, since the opening 3 or 4 minutes in terms of holding on to the basketball. They had 4 turnovers in their first 4 possessions. They have a total of 8 this half.
They've done a better job defensively against Georgetown as well these last few minutes of the game.
Well, folks, don't forget we've got more SEC college hoops on FSN coming your way a week from Monday as Tennessee travels to Louisiana to take on the Ragin' Cajuns from Louisiana Lafayette. Our coverage will begin at 8 o'clock, and as always, be sure to check your local listings. Tennessee, a couple of wins to start the season. Vols returned Chris Lofton, who had 30 last night. Tennessee led the league in scoring last year, over 80 a game.
The Vols on their way to New York, picking up 2 wins here in Nashville. Played at the Gaylord Entertainment Center. Tennessee, a couple of big wins, and headed off to the Final Four of the preseason NIT. Quick shot.
Eggerson, no good. Vandy will have a chance here. Gordon can fly down the court. He'll pull up. The shot on the way. Got it! What a big basket for the Vanderbilt Commodores. They will close the gap, 39-36. And we're waiting to see if that's a 2 or a 3.
They called it a 2. Gordon standing on the line.
It will be a 2-pointer as Alex Gordon had a foot on the line. But a 12-point lead has been dwindled down to 3 at the break here in Nashville. Well, coming up at halftime, we will talk SEC basketball. And can anybody slow down Joakim Noah and the Florida Gators? We'll talk about it next. We're back inside Memorial Gymnasium where the Commodores trail by 4. Chevrolet halftime report continues on. Dave Neal alongside Barry Booker. And a first half that really saw this Georgetown team come out and just stick it to the Commodores in the opening minutes.
And they did it with the big guy, Roy Hibbert, inside, taking advantage of his teammates, setting him up with dribble penetration moves and nice passes like this one from Jeff Green. Hibbert hammering that one home. And again, the penetration from Georgetown had them flying early in the first half of this ball game. Vanderbilt able to fight their way back in. Derek Byers there getting to the basket, his only field goal of the first half. And Alex Gordon off the bench, a big boost, 8 points for Vanderbilt, including these 2 just as the buzzer sounded to end the first half.
Take a look at our first half stats, and one of the things that sticks out to me in that whole list of numbers is the turnovers, because Vanderbilt in their first 4 possessions turned it over.
Yeah.
And they finished with 8. Did a nice job holding on to the basketball.
The 21 points from Vanderbilt's bench. Alex Gordon leading the way for the scores, leading the way for Vanderbilt in scoring with 8. But 39-35, that's a lot of points, and that is in Vanderbilt's favor if they can keep the tempo up, keep this as a high-scoring game.
Georgetown averaged just 66 points a game, 13th in the 16-team Big East a year ago. Second half basketball is just around the corner. This has been the Chevrolet Halftime Report. Set for the start of the second half here inside Memorial Gymnasium. What has been a rainy day on the outside, but it's great to be inside playing some basketball. Good matchup, SEC versus Big East. These 2 teams played last year. Georgetown fell at home to this Commodore club, 68-61, trying to return the favor here in Nashville. It's the opener of the 06-07 campaign for the Commodores. Second game out of the gates for the Hoyas. And off the foot of Ross Neltner, and a quick turnover gives it right back to Georgetown.
Similar to the start of the ball game for the Commodores. They came out, turned it over on their first 4 possessions in this ball game tonight, and they start off the second half with a turnover.
Byers on Sapp. Gets the turnover. And the layup. How is he not on the first or second preseason All-SEC team?
He is a stud. Derek Byers, the defensive ability to knock the ball away, and a great job putting it on the floor, getting all the way to the basket for the easy finish.
His 9 points leads Vanderbilt. Commodores extending their defense. Here's Hibbert. Jeff Green back on the floor after getting into some foul trouble in the first half. Little dump down to Hibbert. The 7-2 center gets it to go down. And the foul. That'll go against Ross Neltner, and that'll be his second.
A nice job by Georgetown executing their offense, finding their big guy inside, carried them in the first half with 14 points, and getting the second half started right for Georgetown, taking it up strong to get 2 over the Commodores.
This is the free throw, but Jeff Green comes out of there with the rebound. Cross-court pass. Eggerson back to Green. And Jim Burr calls a hand check against Ross Neltner. That'll be his 3rd.
Georgetown attacking the Vanderbilt man-to-man defense. They spread the court, the one big guy inside. And Commodores able to move it around and get it to Hibbert. 2 quick fouls on Neltner here to start the second half.
Then the inbound to Jeff Green, who's now got 7. Went right over the top. 6-point game. Foster left it short.
Shane just not able to get going. Good to see him aggressive, though. He has the chance, gets the ball in his hand. He takes the shot.
Foster will try it again. Misses again. rebound right into the hands of Jonathan Wallace.
Commodores come out trying to get their leading scorer involved in this ball game. A set play on the out-of-bounds situation to get Foster a shot. Not able to get it home.
Green spins. Big time move. Count the basket. Oh, my.
Jeff Green, a playmaker for the Hoyas. A big guy at 6'9", but able to put the ball on the floor and handle it so well. Again, Jeff Green led this team in assists and was second in rebounding for the Hoyas last year at 6'9". Very versatile and effective player for the Hoyas. Also a first-team preseason All-Big East selection along with Roy Hibbert.
Can't get the free throw to go down, so a couple of three-point opportunities have gone dry now for the Hoyas, but they'll take the basket. Now a foul on Hibbert as Scooch is trying to post up, and that'll be the third on Big Roy.
Foul trouble in last year's loss to the Commodores, and now foul trouble here in Nashville for the big guy, Roy Hibbert.
Underneath, Brown off the glass, stuck in behind the blue jerseys of Georgetown.
Hibbert and Green not able to be quite as aggressive as they might be if not for the fouls. Have to back off a little bit, be a little more careful. Juwan Brown able to get the basket.
Macklin set to check in for Georgetown. Well, Vandy would love to get the ball back before the whistle blows and maybe try to draw that fourth. And they'll have that chance right here. They'll push the tempo. Here comes Beal, the true freshman off the cage. Ball three, back to Beal. He'll launch the three. Way off the mark.
Beal, not a great shooter. It's a freshman getting the start tonight, working his way into college basketball.
Hibbert got bumped, no whistle. And a palm on the freshman. That is a point of emphasis this year. We saw it called, I did last night against Georgetown Western Kentucky game I had in Athens. It took all of about 10 seconds for one of our officials to call a palm in that game, and they did it a couple of more times.
Well, and Jermaine Beal, he just lost control of the basketball. That's not the situation that we've seen so much of players using their crossover dribble, getting an advantage, crossing it over. Beal just lost control of it.
Cage blocks the shot, back to Green. Here's Green. Eggerson to the basket, strong move right past Byers. His first field goal. His job has been to slow down Foster tonight, and he has done a great job of that.
Eggerson has done a nice job there, but been pretty quiet offensively.
Brown the other way. 6-point game.
And 6 points for Juwan Brown as well. He has shown some nice signs, played very well for the Commodores so far tonight.
Here's Macklin. The parade in McDonald's High School All-American a year ago. Inside to Green. He took a big hot step. The shot's blocked. Scooch has got the block. Here's Beal.
Ted Scooch is very active, doing a nice job defensively for the Commodores.
Byers, the three. That's no good. Good block out by Macklin. Well, the tempo has picked up. They just can't seem to get it to go down.
And Vanderbilt's advantage if the tempo will continue to be at a high pace.
We're in that timeout window in a 6-point game. Eggerson dumps it into Green, and he's fouled. That foul on Beal, that will be his first. For the freshman, doing some work on the inside. Juwan Brown with a timeout on the floor. This presentation of SEC College Hoops on FSN is brought to you by Ford.
That was broken.
47-41 is our score. 15:23 to go in the game. This Vanderbilt team just 3 out of 13 from behind the arc. This is a club, though, that has extended their three-point shooting streak to 631 games. They trail UNLV by 1 game in that department. Both those teams have made a three-pointer in every game since the three-point line was instituted back in the 86-87 season. You got to get that in every game.
Absolutely. And the Commodores will be a perimeter-oriented club. They'll need to knock down a lot of three-point shots. But it's good to see them on a night when they only hit 3 to this point in the ball game, still able to hang in there against a very good Georgetown club, ranked 8th in the nation.
Gordon thought 3, kicks it back to Cage. He knows what to do with it. Couldn't get the roll to go down. Boy, Kevin Stallings told us that the last couple of weeks of practice, Dan Cage missed maybe 1 shot every 2-3 hours.
He can really stroke it. That time a little bit off balance as he caught the basketball. That was a brick, and by Dan Cage's standards, a real brick, and he still almost fell in.
1 out of 5 from the floor tonight is Dan Cage. Tough shot, gets it to go down for Jonathan Wallace, who now has 9.
Jonathan Wallace had to sit down for a while, had some cramps, but back in, looking good for the Hoyas.
There's Metcalf getting on the board. A tough start to tonight's game for the big fella from England. A couple of quick fouls got him on the bench. That's his first basket.
Alan Metcalf, a big physical player inside, 6'9", 265, able to use that big body to get position inside. Nice job with a soft touch after taking the contact. Metcalf getting 2, and Vanderbilt really needing production out of Alan Metcalf this season. Frontline players are the question for the Commodores. Can they get it from Metcalf, Skuchas, and Ross Neltner inside?
You know, Vandy, one of the few teams that has inside question marks in the SEC. This is a league that has a ton of good big men.
And that will make it tough on the Commodores.
Macklin bends on Metcalf. Oh, that's a nice shot for the true freshman out of Portsmouth, Virginia.
Macklin showing you why he was a high school All-American.
Here's Neltner underneath. Pump fake. Gets it to go down. Boy, that's a heads-up play. Noah Green was right there ready to block the shot.
Neltner, an experienced player, the transfer from LSU, a junior now. Very savvy inside. Able to use those head fakes to create space and get shots off tonight.
Nice ball work. You can see why Jeff Green led this team in assists a year ago.
He's such a good passer and ball handler. The tempo up, but Georgetown effective, getting layups, pushing the tempo after Vanderbilt tries to press.
Metcalf will fire from 3 and got it. Coach Stallings told us today, watch my big fella. I don't know if he'll do one tonight, but he can shoot the 3.
He is.
Wallace. And that'll be off Alex Gordon. You want to talk about a great play from Vernon Macklin. That's just hustle.
Vernon Macklin, an incredible athlete. This freshman, another good frontline player for Georgetown. Moments ago, Alan Metcalf, no hesitation, getting the basketball, a defender there, but Metcalf knocking out the 3.
Egerson misses the 3. Rebound comes right to Jeremiah Rivers. Wallace to the top, and Jeff Green.
Without Hibbert on the court, Georgetown really expects Jeff Green to score.
Foster to 2-on-1. Bounce pass to Gordon. To the basket. He has free throws coming.
Will that be Jeff Green? No, it's Rivers.
That will be his first for the true freshman out of Winter Park, Florida.
Good job by Ross Neltner to get his hand in there on the basketball against Jeff Green, take the ball away and create that fast break opportunity that has Alex Gordon wind up at the foul line.
Gordon with 8 tonight. Gordon played in every game last year, started 18 contests. Vandy went 12-6 when he was in the starting lineup. Showed flashes He's done it a couple of times in his first couple of years here at Vanderbilt, where he can be an explosive player. Had a career-high 30 against Tennessee as a freshman. Posted a double-double with 16 and 10 against Furman. Wallace might have gotten away with a little extra hop. Count the basket on the inside for Mark Eggerson.
Eggerson, a couple of baskets so far in the second half. Nice job there with a head fake, sticking in the lay-in.
Fourth foul on Metcalf.
And the fans wanted the travel call. Jonathan Wallace on that catch was bobbling the basketball, and again, you can't walk if you don't have possession of the basketball. So Wallace able to get away with taking a few steps as he got control of it.
Back to an 8-point game. Here's Gordon quickly up the floor. Byers checks in for Foster. And a hold underneath against Vernon Macklin. That'll be his second. Macklin, one of those guys who finished his high school career going to a prep school before making his way to Georgetown. Went to Hargrave Academy.
You know you're deep on the front line when Macklin doesn't get in the play.
Derek Byers sailing through the lane with the jam. 58-52, 11 for the senior.
Athleticism.
Rivers too strong. The follow by Macklin, in and out. Rebound comes into the hands of Byers. Byers spins. Tough shot, went with the left hand, didn't go down. Georgetown basketball.
How about Derek Byers? Vanderbilt giving Georgetown a dose of their own medicine. The backdoor cut by Byers. The inside feed to Neltner, and there's Byers flying down the lane, hammering it home.
Byers 11 points today. Scuchis leads the game as Juwan Brown comes back on the floor. Macklin just took a seat for the Hoyas. Patrick Ewing checks in. Now Sapp will check in for Eggerson. I got to tell you something. Vernon Macklin, the freshman out of Portsmouth, Virginia, didn't play in that opening game, but I think he probably has bought himself a few extra minutes down the road. He's played pretty well tonight. First game as a collegiate.
Yeah, he is quite an athlete. You saw it on that missed dunk attempt. He was way above the rim, but couldn't quite get it home. Georgetown just so good on the front line.
What a cut. Wallace from the feed of Jeff Green. 4 assists for Green tonight.
Great passer, Jeff Green, and that backdoor cut effective for Georgetown.
Derek Byers starting to step it up a notch. 14.
Byers got it cooking here in the second half. He has given the Commodores a spark here, scoring 7 points so far in the half.
Wallace shakes and bakes and buries the three. Whew, that quiets a crowd.
A very entertaining ball game, high scoring. The teams are getting up and down the court. And Vanderbilt likes that up-tempo style. If they can keep it going at this tempo, they'll have a chance to win this ball game.
Hold underneath. I think Wallace will be whistled for that. 63-55 is our score. Timeout on the floor. Derek Byers doing all he can to lead the Doors to victory. College basketball on FSN. Number 8 Georgetown. Unranked Vanderbilt. 63-55. And Barry, against a team like Georgetown, you better not hesitate defensively or you get killed.
The Hoyas do a great job with their backdoor cuts. They leave the middle of the court open frequently, and especially when Jeff Green has the basketball, you better not hesitate. He has dominated this game in the second half with his passing and scoring ability. Hibbert in foul trouble sitting on the bench. Jeff Green, the other stud for Georgetown, has taken over.
Foster back on the floor for the Commodores along with Beal. Brown, Byers, and Neltner. Take it away. Here's Rivers, open floor with the dunk. His first basket tonight, it's a big one.
And the freshman stepping in the passing lane, giving Georgetown a 10-point edge.
12 turnovers by the Commodores for this half. Here's Brown. Swatted out of there by Green. Is there anything he can't do?
He is taking charge of this ball game in the second half. 6 points, a couple of assists, that block shot. Jeff Green doing it all for Georgetown. Looks like Juwan Brown's going to have an easy basket. Jeff Green steps in to say no, sir.
Vandy will inbound with 18 on the shot clock. Here's Gucci. Off to Byers. Looking for Foster. Pump fakes.
Foster very quiet. Jeff Green on him right now. Foster trying to shake it.
Tough shot, won't go. Good defense by Green. And a foul on Ewing underneath. Foster now 0 for 4 from behind the arc.
With the shot clock winding down, Shane Foster had to let that one go.
It's yet to make a field goal. Just 2 points tonight for Foster. 4 rebounds. This guy averaged over 15 a game a year ago. That won't go down.
Shane pressing a bit right now, trying to get things going.
Under 10 minutes to play. Back to a 10-point advantage. And possibly more as free throws on the way as Sapp will head to the free throw line.
Another pretty pass on the backdoor cut from Jeff Green. You see the open court. And Vanderbilt should be used to this. This is the offense that they ran last year. The Commodores running this Princeton-style offense. John Thompson III, a Princeton alum, and very well schooled by Pete Carrill in this Princeton offense. He's brought it down to Georgetown. The Hoyas having a lot of success with it.
Coach Thompson said that he speaks with Coach Carrill quite a bit. Coach Carrill back in Princeton, New Jersey, after spending some time in the NBA as an assistant coach.
Coach Thompson saying Coach Carrill's back at home in Princeton. Your coach had been out on the West Coast, Sacramento, and spent some time in the NBA.
Hibbert back on the floor, grabs the rebound. An 11-point game. 8 rebounds tonight for Hibbert.
Hibbert and Green on the court.
The backdoor cut went awry. 9 turnovers by Georgetown. One little update for you. The season low last year for Shane Foster. He had 4 points in their NIT loss to Notre Dame in the first round of the NIT. Went 1 for 9 from the field. 0 for 7 in that game. That's blocked right into the hands of Hibbert.
A poor scoring night for Shane Foster will usually spell a loss for the Commodores. You see if Foster can get it going or Vanderbilt can somehow manage to generate some points. As 11 points, it's getting a little late. Jermaine Beal trying to take it to the basket, and the freshman finding out that here in the college game, it's a lot tougher to get those shots off over the big trees that you're going to face.
For John Thompson, he told us today, as Nelner grabs that rebound, that the first couple of weeks of the season, maybe the first month, is when he'll play just about everybody on his roster to see who gels best with whom. And he'll use a lot of these young players, and then by the time they get to about a week out before the Big East starts, he'll settle on his starting 5 and try to get his 3- and 4-man bench rotation set. Right now, he's just trying to figure out who's going to do what with whom on the floor.
And doing a nice job mixing in a lot of players. Both teams have played a lot of guys, and Georgetown's really been forced to tonight with some foul trouble and injury situation. Tyler Crawford, their starting shooting guard, out of the game tonight. They had their point guard, Jonathan Wallace, go out with cramps in the first half. So he has been limited in his effectiveness, but Georgetown still in control of this ball game, up 10.
The senior, Dan Cage, with a couple of free throws. He's got 5 tonight. And Cage will be whistled for the push out of bounds. That'll be his 3rd.
Commodores a little too aggressive with that trap. And they had the wrong guy also. Jeff Green with the basketball. It's going to be tough to take it away from him or force him into a turnover. Cage, he pushed with his chin. Pushed Green's elbow with his chin.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah, that's a tough way to pick up a foul.
12 for Green tonight. He's got 7 this half. 4 rebounds, 5 assists.
Nice line for Jeff Green. You can see why Georgetown is one of the top 10 teams in the country. Jeff Green and Roy Hibbert carrying the load for the Hoyas.
Scooches couldn't get it to go down over Hibbert. Tried to draw that foul on the big man. Couldn't pick up that 4th.
Good idea for Vanderbilt. They'll need to find a way to get either Hibbert or Green in a little more foul trouble, getting one of those guys off the court if they're going to have a chance to win this ball game.
There's Green to the basket. Offensive foul. A collision. Dan Cage drew the player control foul. That'll be the 3rd on Green. Under 8 minutes to go here in Nashville. The Commodores in their season opener trail by 11. First year, he took his club to the NIT. Last year, they go to the Sweet 16. Now people think this club can move right on up the food chain and possibly make a run at that Final Four. And many people think that this is the toughest conference in America. 16 teams in the Big East, and Georgetown expected to finish number 2 behind Pittsburgh.
A very unforgiving league with so many good teams. Syracuse, Marquette, Connecticut. Now Louisville, a team that missed the NCAA tournament. They had a few breaks go the wrong way, and all of a sudden they find themselves falling down in that league where you just get hammered when things aren't going your way. So it'll be interesting to see if the Hoyas can keep things going with their guard play being a little bit shaky.
Neltner has it sent right back to him. Excuse me, Metcalf after the Hibbert block. That's the 3rd block by Hibbert.
Metcalf with 4 fouls. That play, Coach Stallings designed to try to get that 4th foul on Hibbert, and Metcalf falling away. That's not the way to draw that 4th foul on the big guy. You got to go at him.
Here's Wallace dumped down to Hibbert. And he missed the easiest shot of the night, but right into the hands of Green. 3 on 2. And then Green gives it back. And John Thompson not happy with that turnover. And a foul on the other end. That is a 30-second sequence that John Thompson probably will look at in the tape room and cringe.
Well, you got the wide open layup from Hibbert. He just lost his balance, wasn't quite able to get that shot down. And then Green, who was very patient, took his time and then threw it away. Green had 6 turnovers in that game against Hartford. It is unlike him. And here's Hibbert inside against Allen Metcalf. Metcalf has to attack Roy Hibbert. If you start falling away against him, he's going to go up and block that shot every time. Good night for Alex Gordon in double figures. The junior stepping into a backup role with freshman Jermaine Beal coming in as a starter. And we've seen Alex Gordon maintain a good attitude throughout his career. In and out of the starting lineup last year with Mario Moore playing in front of him and behind him alternatively.
Byers with another takeaway up ahead to Gordon. He will take it himself off the glass.
Good D by Byers, taking it away, and the Commodores putting that pressure on, forcing some turnovers and trying to claw their way back in.
Back to a 7-point game. Georgetown has gone almost 4 minutes without a field goal. And a reach in on Byers. Every time Vandy gets some momentum, they do something and draw a foul, have a turnover, something to break the rhythm.
Well, it's a kind of a desperate situation where you're trying to fight your way back into the game. You're trying to apply that pressure defensively, trying to get things going. And Georgetown has had an answer every time Vanderbilt has mounted a charge.
68-61 is our score. That was the final score a year ago when Vanderbilt won up in Washington.
A much quicker tempo. We're seeing the effects of Vanderbilt's decision to try and increase the tempo of their play this season.
This is exactly what John Thompson was talking to us about his team. I asked him, I said, you know, what would be a good number for your team offensively? And he says, I don't want to pin that on this group because I would like to think that we could play the fast pace if we need to, or we can slow it down, whatever the game dictates. And I think we're seeing an example of that right now. Green pulls down the rebound. He's got 6 of those.
Vanderbilt, that was kind of a desperation shot from Alex Gordon. Off the dribble, that fading three-pointer. Not a good one from Gordon.
Sapp, tough shot, a little runner. Almost got too far underneath the rim, but got it to go down.
All of a sudden, Georgetown has extended it back out to 11.
Hoyas have done a great job extending their defense out on the perimeter. It has been hard for Vandy to get a good look behind the arc.
Commodores need to get that 4th foul on Hibbert or Green. They've got to try to attack one of those guys.
Gordon, here's a 3, in and out. Hibbert the rebound. 10 of those, a double-double for Hibbert. His 10th career double-double. He had 7 a year ago. His first of the young season.
Good shot by Alex Gordon, just couldn't get that 3 down. Georgetown working on the clock right now.
Spins on Metcalf, drives the lane. 18. Gordon the other way on the floor.
Good try by Shane Foster to draw the charge on Hibbert. Didn't get the call, and Hibbert came up a little bit gimpy.
That Hibbert basket gives Georgetown their biggest lead of the game. It is back to 13 with 4:55 to play.
Difficult situation now for the Commodores, especially with Georgetown running their deliberate offense, taking a lot of time off the shot clock on each possession. Will be to Georgetown's advantage to do that, to continue to do that coming down the stretch here. Take as much time as they can each time they get the ball.
Pat Ewing Jr. comes back on the floor. He will replace Jeff Green, who leaves with 15 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. Pretty good night.
Not bad at all. And it ain't over. Good idea for John Thompson to get him out of the game. You don't want him to get in any more foul trouble. You want to have him ready coming down the stretch of this ball game.
Pull up 12-footer. He knocks it down. 16 for Wallace. Boy, he's having a huge night. You and I have talked a couple of times tonight. If Georgetown can get any perimeter play to go with the combination of Hibbert and Green inside, this team's going to be very dangerous. But that's the question mark. Can they get consistent play out on the outside?
Johnson Wallace is a veteran, a junior who's played a lot in his career, a very steady player at the point guard. If Georgetown can get that solid play out of Wallace all season, they are going to be extremely good this year.
Last year, the season high for Wallace was 15. He's poured in 16 here tonight as Rivers checks in for Mr. Wallace.
Gordon, a 74% free throw shooter last season. He's missed a couple of big ones here lately for the Commodores.
Here's Hibbert. Off to Sapp. Hibbert working on Scooches.
Georgetown working on the clock.
And count the basket for Patrick Ewing Jr.
Pretty good night for Patrick Ewing Jr. 7 so far in the game. He's done a nice job around the basket. It's another really good frontline player for Georgetown. Ewing just able to put it on the floor. Vanderbilt trying to apply pressure, trying to force turnovers against Georgetown right now to get their way back into this game. But Ewing able to take advantage of that pressure and take it to the basket.
7 points, couple of rebounds. For Patrick Ewing, misses the free throw. That is high school ball in Marietta, Georgia. Cage inside. I've had other thoughts about taking that shot. Under 4 minutes to go, and what is now a 15-point advantage, the biggest of the game for the Hoyas. Foster still can't find any room to operate. Gordon bounce pass to Neltner. Off the window, but it ate up about 25 seconds off the clock.
Exactly. Good defensive stand by Georgetown, forcing Vanderbilt to really work to get that basket. Georgetown continuing to work that clock down.
Here's Sapp underneath. Eggerson, and count the basket. Nice pass from Sapp. And now the Hoyas are putting it on the Commodores.
Ross Neltner just lost concentration there. Eggerson, the easy basket going back door.
Georgetown, the 8th-ranked team in America, looking every bit the part tonight. This presentation of SEC College Hoops on FSN is brought to you by Dodge. And just to prove it, our Dodge drive of the game goes to Patrick Ewing Jr., who got the three-point opportunity, slicing to the basket, the transfer from Indiana tonight, with 7 points, a couple of rebounds.
Well-deserved Dodge drive of the game from Patrick Ewing Jr. as Georgetown has done a great job scoring around the basket, getting that ball in the paint, and taking advantage of their big guys.
Points in the paint tonight for Georgetown, 42 for Vanderbilt, 28.
That's what you would expect. Georgetown with that powerful front line should dominate inside. 28's not bad for Vanderbilt. It's their perimeter game that hasn't been there tonight.
Turnover by Gordon. Gives it back to Sapp. Jeff Green at 6'9" will run the point. Working on Neltner. Off to Sapp. Ewing. Back to Green now. Shot clock at 10. Green hangs in the air off the window.
Man.
17 now for Green. 6 boards, 6 assists.
Left Ross Neltner standing. Took it to the basket, able to get under control around Alex Gordon to get the bucket.
And some moisture on the floor. Rivers fell down. Jim Burr wisely calls time to get it taken care of. 2:16 to play in this one. A 17-point game. Biggest of the night for the Hoyas.
Georgetown, very impressive as advertised. The Hoyas have played well here at Memorial Gym, and the Commodores just haven't really gotten it done. Their perimeter game, Shane Foster not having a good night at all for the Commodores, and when Shane doesn't get it going, the Commodores are going to struggle.
You could call it his worst offensive night since he's worn the Vanderbilt jersey. 0 for 5 from the field, 0 for 4 from behind the arc. 2 points, 4 rebounds.
No field goals. Very tough night for Shane and the Commodores.
He will have better nights.
Oh, gosh, he better. Be a real long year for the Commodores if he doesn't.
Preseason first-team All-SEC member. And the guy who's done the number on him is, for the most part, is Eggerson, as Green fighting underneath. A couple of shots won't go down. Grabs the rebound and the putback. And that'll be the 5th foul on Metcalf.
From Vanderbilt's standpoint, you got to believe that Derek Byers and Shane Foster will be outstanding players this year. But what the Commodores are looking for is superior play from their point guard, Jermaine Beal, stepping in as the point starting. They need some good play inside from Metcalf or Scoochas. And from the starters, Metcalf and Beal, neither of those players had very good nights. Ross Neltner was okay. But the Commodores need much better performances, really, from everyone.
How about Beal? His first collegiate game goes up against the Georgetown Hoyas, and he's got to match up with Jonathan Wallace, the junior, who's from Harvest, Alabama, not too far from here. And that's a tough task to ask for your newcomer.
Yeah, very difficult task for Jermaine Beal. But he is an explosive player. He's going to be very good here at Vanderbilt. Obviously, to get the start tonight, he has to have impressed the coaches during the preseason practice. Beal will be very good, but it's going to take some time. A luxury for Vanderbilt that they have an experienced backup guard in Alex Gordon who can step in and play well for Vanderbilt if Beal's not getting it done.
Cage hacked on the way to the basket. He'll have free throws on the way. Time for our Lincoln Mercury player of the game, and it has to go to the 7'2" junior Roy Hibbert. 18 points, 10 rebounds, 3 blocks tonight. He set the tone early. He had 4 early baskets, 3 of them dunks.
14 first half points to really control things for the Hoyas and get them off to the big start.
8 of 11 from the field for Mr. Hibbert. And the 2 big guns, Jeff Green and Roy Hibbert, have combined for 37 points, 18 rebounds. Here's Macklin. Alley-oop, a little too high.
That's why the big guys shouldn't throw alley-oops.
Beal working on Macklin, backs it out. And a foul underneath on Rivers, and that'll send Cage back to the free throw line. For the Vanderbilt Commodores, they don't have much of an easy start to their schedule.
No, not easing their way into this season.
They got to head on the road for a Tuesday night game next week at Wake Forest, a game you can see right here on FSN. That'll be in Winston-Salem. And they have Elon and Furman to round out the month of November. Meanwhile, Georgetown will head back home. They will play Old Dominion at the McDonough Arena. The small 2,200 seat on campus facility will host a couple of games this year, and that'll be Old Dominion on Sunday. And then on Monday, November 27th, it's that matchup between the brothers Thompson.
Ronnie at Ball State, John Thompson III at Georgetown. That should be very interesting. I'm sure John Thompson Jr., Big John, will be in the house to check that one out.
Summers, tough shot, count the basket. That is the way it has gone for the Hoyas tonight.
A dominating performance from the Georgetown Hoyas. 86 points to this point in the ball game. Georgetown showing that they are an explosive offensive team. They can put up the points when given the opportunity. Vanderbilt has tried to force the tempo, has tried to apply pressure, and that's what this Princeton offense needs. They use that pressure against you, open the court, use the backdoor cuts to get easy baskets.
This Georgetown club averaged 66 points a year ago. They have put 86 on the board tonight. shooting 52% from the floor. And they've held Vanderbilt to 40% from the floor and 23% from behind the arc. Remember this, Vanderbilt was second in the SEC last year in three-point shooting at 38.7%.
The Commodores really rely on that three-point shooting. They just weren't able to get it going tonight against a Georgetown team that can lock down the middle and then extend their defense from there.
So a big-time win by the 8th-ranked team in America. They come down to Nashville and post an 86-70 win over the Vanderbilt Commodores and the Commodores season opener. It was a big night for Roy Hibbert with 18, Jeff Green with 19, and Wallace with 16. Derek Byers led the Commodores with 14. But the big story, Shane Byers couldn't get going tonight. Excuse me, Shane Foster with just 2 points. The final score from Memorial Gym, 86-70. Be sure to join us for more SEC college basketball 1 week from Monday as Tennessee visits the Ragin' Cajuns of Louisiana Lafayette. So for our entire FSN crew and Barry Booker, I'm Dave Neal saying so long, everybody from Nashville. We'll see you down the road. This has been a presentation of SEC College Hoops on FSN.